Hello and welcome to ProtoBalls Talk. Today we're testing out a new DVD drive. I kid. It's a ProtoBalls Talk addendum.
Let's cut that out.
We're not cutting that out.
I'm cutting that out.
Well, no.
What the hell's the point?
Welcome everybody to another edition of ProtoBalls Talk.
Our balls grew back!
They came back just because I had some really interesting stuff to say about the most recent episode, but alas, work complications.
If you did hear, the last podcast, we kind of did dog your job. Just a wee bit.
Scheduling conflicts.
Yes,
Yeah, that's about it.
Scheduling conflicts, yeah.
He was scheduled to not work, and then his company that he works for felt conflicted about that.
Quite conflicted.
Yeah, it's like that scene in Office Space. Hey.
Yeah, we're going to need you to come in Saturday.
Yeah.
We're also going to need you to come in on Sunday too. And then immediately afterwards, and it's like, so I was sitting in my cubicle, I was thinking to myself, come to realize, every single day is worse than the last. So every time that I come here and you ask me how my day is going, that's the worst day of my life. And is today the worst day of your life? Yeah. Wow, that's rough. Sorry. Oh, Office Space.
But we're not here to talk about Office Space, are we?
Have you had a case of the Mondays?
I hate Mondays.
No, I think at this point, Mondays might be a good thing for him.
Mondays is I was just gonna say though, I've seen that scene in the past, and never have I related to it more than I do now. Or it's just
somebody will get their ass kicked for saying something like that.
Yeah, right.
So some of you may be wondering, why are we even doing this? Well, as it turns out, after me and Tank had recorded the Friday the 13th A New Beginning podcast, but before it actually was uploaded, Barry here messaged me saying how disappointed he was that he wasn't able to get in on this.
I haven't seen the new episode, mostly because work has kept me from really doing anything. But I, surprisingly, amazingly, stupendously, actually have a lot of good things to say about this movie. Or at least the potential it had to be a good movie.
Now, because this is an extra, we're not going to bore you with a recap of the movie like we do on the most of the podcasts. And we're just going to get straight to talking about this.
So, what did you guys overall think of the movie? Did you guys not like it?
I thought it was completely unnecessary, given how the next movie basically negates everything about this movie.
Yeah.
And heck, even just basically reuses this movie's opening for itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't disagree, but what did you guys think of the movie itself? Did you like it? Did you not like it?
I gave it a 5 out of 10.
Ooh.
Mostly for the kills.
Okay, yeah, I mean the kills are great. Mm-hmm. All right, the one where the guy gets the belt wrapped around the tree is really good. Really wish we could have gotten. They deleted.
Oh, I believe the director said the company raped my movie because
they completely they neutered that movie. This movie could have been great if all the kills were uncut. Mm-hmm. Or uncensored, because you can kind of see how brutal it is,
Well, a lady got her eye, the hedge clippers.
Yeah, with the hedge clippers, it would have been great if you could actually see that.
I also complained about the fact that Tommy Jarvis doesn't do a
Tommy
whole lot
Jarvis
in this
does
movie.
not do.
I completely understand what they were going for.
Yes.
They were trying to set him up as a red herring, as potentially being this new Jason.
Dude, bro, they could have done so much better, though. Like I said, the issue with this movie is not the idea, it's the execution that is completely wrong.
They kind of turned, well, I guess I could understand he was through a lot of fucking drama, that he...
They dropped Tommy into this halfway house, basically.
With already a killer already inside.
Yeah, well, we don't talk about... Dude, that is, like, the least of the issues I have with this movie, but on that topic, there is no way in fucking hell that this guy would have ever been in any group home whatsoever.
Prison, maybe.
Any psychiatrist worth his salt would have had him locked up for criminal psychosis.
Oh, yeah, when you watch that scene, he is chopping that wood
angrily. You could tell he's a psychopath. And all the guy... Yeah, and all he wanted to do was give him a chocolate bar. He killed a guy. This motherfucker killed a man for slightly annoying him.
Your brother wanted to kill a lot of people.
Yeah?
Yeah, I never followed through with it, though.
No. Well, you know.
Except that one time.
We don't talk about that. We don't talk about the spaghetti incident.
I still have the nightmares.
Hey, it wasn't that bad. You got Turkey Supreme instead.
Not that spaghetti incident. Different spaghetti incident.
But they drop Tommy off in this halfway house, and they don't really establish any of the other characters' issues.
No, not really, not at all.
Because there's Reggie the Reckless. Oh, he's the grandson
of the cook.
Okay, that's
fair.
That's an establishing character moment. The cook, you know, he's a grandfatherly type. You know, he's quiet, kind-hearted. Okay, that's an establishing character moment. And then you get, here's a character who dances. Not much else is known about them. Here's two characters who like to fuck. Not much else is known about them. Here's a character who has a stutter. Not much else is known about them.
Here's one that's a punk goth girl.
The one who dances.
Yeah, but that's like literally the only.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like,
really,
by the way, that character, their mother, it actually plays a character in one of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies.
Huh.
So I was like, I knew there was a fun fact. I knew this character was from somewhere, and their mother played one of the parents in, I think, part 3 or part 4.
On a similar topic, I know that the Laura Dern from Jurassic Park, her mother played the lead villain in Carnosaur.
We don't speak of Carnosaur.
Oh no. Poor Laura Dern.
So, you know, that was thematically appropriate given what you just revealed.
Yeah, so I like this movie, but I will not deny that it is mired in issues and execution. They don't establish anything about these characters. This movie was what, an hour and 20 minutes maybe?
Roughly.
Mm-hmm.
This movie could have been 2 hours, and it could have been great if they had just spent the time to get to know these characters.
Mm-hmm.
But no, they basically just leave
they were cannon fodder.
They're mentally handicapped. That's all you need to know, apparently.
Well,
they plop this movie down into just a stereotypical slasher movie from 1985 when we've already got about 100 more. They could have turned this into a psychological horror thriller. They could have turned this into a murder mystery instead of there's a killer on the loose. Gee, I wonder who it is. Couldn't be the one guy nobody thought it was, except that everybody knew who it was.
He kept making weird glares at the camera.
I like Roy. See, I like Roy.
I liked Roy. It was him.
I felt the reveal that it was him felt really half-baked.
Oh, it was a bad reveal, but it could have worked.
It could have worked. Had he been in more than one scene?
More than 2 scenes. He was in 2 scenes.
Really?
He was in the one where...
I forgot that he was in... I only know the one where they're getting his son's corpse.
Yep, they're picking up...
the greaser
spoilers
scene?
for this movie, by the way.
Yeah, he's also in the greaser scene, where he's like, "Hey, Sheriff, you talking to me?" What? And the sheriff's like, "What?"
No, Roy wasn't talking. I thought you were talking to me.
I must have blanked on that one.
There's several ideas that I have that could have, you keep the opening scenes. That's fantastic. That's some fantastic.
That is good. It's no wonder they ripped it off in the next movie.
Yes. Dude, those,
I have to say one thing. But, I think I did it on our version. It's like, they got Tommy Jarvis as a kid, and then all of a sudden we cut to Tommy Jarvis as, like, early 20s. Who the fuck is that guy?
Yeah.
I think the movie does a decent job of establishing who it is.
Yeah, because mind you, Tommy would have been 12, I think.
Yeah, I believe so.
12 in 82. The movie, because in case you didn't realize it, part 2, 3, and 4 all take place over the same weekend in 82.
I'm pretty sure somebody's made a timeline of this and the Nightmare on Elm Street movies.
Yes, I mean they're all canon.
Yes.
As of New Line Cinema's Cinemassacre universe.
Cinemassacre.
Sure, why not?
Is there any other way to describe the?
I mean that is fair. Somebody else has a copyright.
I know that. Yeah. I'm sure he would be honored if New Line called their series the Cinemassacre universe.
He probably would be.
Dude, he'd be on board all the way. Nevertheless.
Kind of appropriate we're talking about him since he recommended his book.
Yeah.
Good fucking
Nevertheless, this movie is supposed to take place a couple of years later. This is like 87, 88 that the movie supposedly takes place, I guess.
I mean, we get that he's been dealing with these issues for a while.
He's been locked up for a while.
Yeah, like psych wards, I guess. Like
he's been in several mental institutions in and out, and they plop him down in this halfway house, and shit goes sideways almost immediately.
This movie, yeah, you're right. Shit does go sideways, especially that one guy. I can't remember, but he was one of the sex-craved characters that comes down wearing one of his masks and then takes it off and just starts kind of fake, soft punching him, and then he just literally suplexes his ass through a side table.
Dude, yeah.
I'm okay with that. I mean, that helps to establish that he is capable of intense violence.
He is absolutely unhinged.
So that plays into the whole murder mystery aspect of him being a red herring for that.
There's like 3 scenes where, when Jason is not involved, where the characters are like, yeah, this kid's been through some shit. But the other characters, outside of the adults, they don't get this established information. They don't know not to fuck with him. It would have been great if there is, a scene where everybody is doing group therapy and they sort of talk about their issues and what happened with them. It would be great establishing character moments, having Tommy actually
be introduced to the other characters other than, here's Tommy, say hello. All right, let's get back to work.
Yeah, that's pretty much what fucking happened. Or not even that. They just showed up. They're doing their chores. They're just looking. Then the cops show up with the 2 fuckers.
And it's even worse because it's like, you would think that, any person hears the name Tommy Jarvis, they would instantly know, oh, that's the guy that killed Jason Voorhees, that mass murderer who killed like 30 fucking people over the weekend.
I would assume that maybe government cover-ups, child protection.
Child protection laws might do that.
Mm-hmm.
Unless, I don't know, maybe.
I mean, considering how intense of a reaction we get from the mayor when the sheriff jokingly suggests it's Jason, maybe there's we don't talk about Jason, okay?
Yeah. This is a small town, a small community.
Are they still in Jersey?
Jesus Christ, that's like the guy from Jaws. This is a small town. We need this. Come on.
We need the beach to be open.
Fuck safety. God, I can't wait till we do the Jaws series.
I mean, that's something we could do at some point. But
dude, I
mean, in the mayor's defense, in this movie, Jason is, for all intents and purposes, dead. He just wants the whole matter to be buried. There's no shark still in the water.
And it also would have been great if Roy was introduced much earlier in the movie. Like I said, spread this out. Make it a 2-hour psychological thriller. You introduce Roy earlier in the movie. Say there's an accident that happened and one of the kids has to go to the hospital. Maybe
give maybe one scene where he opens his wallet and takes a look at the picture of his son. It's like,
yeah.
But no, all of Roy's motivation is revealed after he's off at the end.
Also, by the way, fuck that other paramedic.
Well, he was an asshole.
Yep.
In 2023, that guy would not hold a fucking job
Hell no.
as a paramedic. Zero tact whatsoever.
Like the group home
I mean, well,
kids are crying and just calls them pussies. There's a fucking corpse there.
There is a guy that it is implied that they have known for quite a while who is not a bad guy, a little misguided, a little naive, not all there in the head, but overall, generally a nice guy who just got murdered in front of them by a fucking psychopath who's maybe been there a month.
We don't know anything about these characters.
We don't know anything about these guys. Why? This has been the issue with a lot of slasher movies. Why are we supposed to? How are we supposed to care about these characters when they die? Nightmare on Elm Street 1 does a fantastic job. It's like what, an hour into the movie before the first kill happens?
No,
I don't think.
Like 45 minutes. We're getting
it's still fairly early in the movie, comparatively speaking, but there is enough time to establish all of the characters.
Yeah. Meanwhile, in this one, the first murder takes place in the first 30 minutes. Well, how are we supposed to know anything about them?
To be a bit fair with regards to the Friday the 13th movies, we're not really here for the character drama. We're here to just see a bunch of teenagers get sloshed to death.
But if
in interesting ways.
Have sex and then die.
Here's the problem, though. If you're going to go the way that Tommy Jarvis is the new Jason Voorhees, then you need established character moments to make his heel turn more dramatic.
Agreed.
To use a wrestling term, you need to make the heel turn effective.
I completely agree, and that's what this movie should have done. Instead, it went with the standard, let's just throw a bunch of characters and have them get offed randomly.
And even then, I don't agree with turning Jarvis into a killer. I don't like that idea. That idea was bad. I think the reason that the next scene after he fucking kills the woman and kills what's her name in the dream, I think that was
like, he does that fucking twice. They do that twice.
They do. Yeah. They do it for what I think is that last scene is added on after test audiences reacted poorly.
Right.
I think this was sort of a will he, won't he? We'll never know.
Shiv.
Yeah.
And then he wakes up and it's a dream scene.
And he wakes up.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
See,
why is Roy's mask in the hospital?
Like, I kind of feel like maybe that's where the movie should have ended, with him looking at the mask.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. It's funny, because when you think about it, if that kid wasn't murdered by the ex-psycho, by Rick, I think his name was...
Victor.
Vic. By Vic. If he wasn't murdered by Vic, none of this would be happening. And Tommy Jarvis would probably be okay.
Yeah, but to be fair...
He wouldn't... No, you know what? I'll say this. This movie does not a great job, but it at least establishes that this movie, Vic's killing of the other guy, the axe murder, and then the subsequent Roy fucking going crazy and killing everybody, it at least establishes that now Tommy is obsessed, which is why the next movie happens. It doesn't do a great job of that, but you can parse that from this movie onto the next one. Does it do it great? Do I think that's what they should have done? No. Probably not. If Friday the 13th is very popular, I get that they had to make a bunch of movies to keep the popularity going, but I would have made this the last movie. You know, the final chapter, and then rename it to something else, but make it a psychological horror. Deal with how these characters dealt with Jason's aftermath. Tommy is an extremely fucked up person, right? He's mentally fucked up. He's gone. But there's a chance for him to come back until something goes wrong.
Kind of like Psycho 2.
It's like Psycho 2. You know?
I've never seen any of the Psycho
movies.
Oh my
god, we got it. Dude, that should be the next one.
There are a bunch of movies that I've never seen.
Psycho 2 is... Vampire Jekyll, Fortune Tasty. He loves Psycho 2 just because it's fucking insane.
I mean, I've heard good things.
Oh, it's a great movie, but it's fucking insane. From just everything. And oh my god, we gotta watch that movie sometime. It's like Dr. Five's level of what
now I gotta see it.
So
it's nuts, dude.
So Tanner, what is your opinion on the Hillbilly Family?
Honestly, okay, if as a slasher movie, they're fine. They add a little levity to it. I don't have a problem with it in this version of the film. If you're gonna make it a psychological horror, get these fucking bums out of here. A very poor depiction of.
They're really just there
to become a body.
They're really just there to add to the
What was
body
the point of that homeless guy too? Just another fucking body on the pile.
I'm assuming that was another red herring.
That was another red herring, but then they kill him immediately.
I don't even remember
because
him
he was
being
watching
killed.
those 20-somethings fucking the backyard.
Like, if they had left him sticking around, actually done something with him other than show up in, like, one scene.
If he had actually been... Because they're in a forest, right?
Yeah.
If they had... I would have taken that character, I would have not made him homeless, I would have turned him into a park ranger. Because they're in a park. They're in a forest. Make it a state park with some private properties, right? Turn him into a park ranger. He's going around, taking care of things. Have that be his character. That's an easy red herring to have. He's a park ranger who's a bit of a tight ass, and after the axe murder, he gets even worse.
Have him be one of the responders to it.
Yes, have him be a respondent. Have him come here with the police. Give these people reasons to be red herring instead of, here's a guy, he's not really named, maybe he's the killer, who knows. He doesn't have established. Like fucking Roy has an establishing character moment in that scene right after the murder.
I mean, we don't realize why it's important until after he's dead, at which point they cram in the whole exposition, which is a problem.
Yes. So, if I were to restructure this movie, this is just me. So you keep the opening, and then you mostly change around everything else. You try to expand to 2 hours. Tommy arrives at the halfway house. He's introduced to everybody. Everybody, has a talk to him. He meets Reggie, meets the staff, everything. Expand the staff a little more. If you're gonna make it be a slasher movie, you should expand the body count even further. You should have these characters be fucking woods on a fucking pile ready to burn. You know what? Because I'll get back to that, because the halfway house is gonna burn down at the end of this movie. Because someone's gonna set it on fire. That's my idea for the big climax of this movie. Somebody sets the halfway house on fire. Tommy's stuck inside. He's being chased by somebody who's trying to kill him. Presumably the killer set it on fire. Or it could be that during a struggle, something lit on fire. Now the whole house is on fire. Pandemonium. Chaos. Have characters burning to death. Fucking give it stakes. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, agreed.
Give these movies stakes instead of there's one person dead, there's another person dead, there's another person dead. Give it stakes. Have people die en masse. Have it be like, oh, people are heroically trying to save others while the killer inside the house, presumably with the hockey mask that it may or may not conceal the fucking smoke, keep it from breathing out. Have him fucking kill people who are trying to come inside and save people, chasing after Tommy, chasing after all these fucking survivors. I'm like John wooing this movie when it doesn't need to be that way.
No.
I mean, you gotta take into consideration the budget.
Yeah.
Dude, you could just Evil Dead it, find a random cabin, burn it down.
That's what they did.
I'm just saying. It wouldn't be hard to find an abandoned property, necessarily, and then sort of a condemned building. Use the exterior, and then do a studio stage for the interior. Nevertheless, Tommy arrives at this place, introduced to everybody, meets the staff and everybody. Expand the staff, meets the park ranger. The park ranger is there to meet them, and the park ranger, let's say he's gonna run down the rules of the park, because this is a private property in the middle of a state park, let's say. And the park ranger's just like, here's a friendly reminder. We got a curfew. Yada, yada, yada. Don't go out into the forest alone.
We got bears roaming around.
We got bears roaming around.
Have the park ranger
you could use that as a red herring. A character gets killed, the police and the park ranger, they assume a bear did it.
There you go. Have the park ranger bring the guy and girl to the pathway house.
Bring the instead of the sheriff.
Yeah. The sheriff does like next to nothing in this movie.
The sheriff doesn't do anything, but you can have the sheriff and park ranger there, and they can have a discussion of what's going on, and you don't even
even give like a brief disagreement between the sheriff and the park ranger with like, you're overstepping your bounds. You're just here to look after the park.
Yeah.
Sorry, sheriff.
He's like,
but the park ranger says, but those people inside that park are also my responsibility.
Mm-hmm. Right. Do something.
Give these characters stuff. Meaning. And like, and then you do, after a while you do, character moment, you give group therapy, and Tommy can be like, well, he can...
When I was 11 years old, I chopped at murders and...
Well, he probably wouldn't phrase it like that, but he'd probably be like, I'm not really comfortable talking about it. I've talked about it a lot, but I did a thing. A thing happened to me. I lost my mom. I lost a lot of people I knew, and I don't really.
And a bunch of people I didn't.
And a bunch of people.
I got to see a set of boobies from my window.
I'm joking.
Yeah, continue.
But you could have Tommy more or less sort of evade the question.
Yeah,
he's trying to sidestep around it. He doesn't want to talk about it, but he's forced into a situation where he has to, and so, he could talk about how he feels, and how this incident made him feel,
how it affected
him, and you could have these other characters, sort of.
Maybe being like me and Tank just now and kind of joking about it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Kind of establishing that they're less empathetic towards the situation.
Right. Yeah. Because they don't know.
Right.
And, you could have the parents who are, like, super empathetic because they understand. They kind of get what he went through.
Mm-hmm. Whose parents?
No,
or
the adults, the counselors. Sorry, not parents. Sorry.
Had to call you out on that one.
How about? I think they're more staff than.
Yeah, the staff. They're more empathetic to Tommy. Mm-hmm. Right. And you know what? Have Reggie be a little empathetic to Tommy as well, because Reggie's parents are not established. I mean, Reggie has a brother. He has an older brother.
Damon.
Demon. That they don't even. He rarely talks to. You could even
rarely gets to talk to.
You could have an establishing character moment where Reggie is like, I lost my parents as well, and I empathize with you for losing your mom. So we're kind of in the same boat. My grandpa works here, he'll take care of you and stuff like that. Give establishing character moments. Give Tommy friends. He is such a loner in this movie that it's not even funny. I mean, he scares Reggie. But he barely talks to anybody. Mm-hmm. When he does talk to somebody, he almost gets into a fucking fist fight. Or when he does get into a fist fight, he kicks the shit out of 2 people. He nearly kills one.
Yeah, that hillbilly boy needed an ass whooping.
That guy was asking for it.
My mama's gonna cut you up and put you...
I was just... when I was watching that, I was like... They did not really give people with Down syndrome much representation, did they?
No. Positive, no.
Oh, no. That was bad.
I mean, let's face it. A few of these characters are just straight up negative stereotypes.
Oh, my God. Yeah. Oh, the sex-obsessed teens. I mean, you could easily write around that and say that...
I mean, I get for the time that was the normal thing to do.
Right. Well, with the two sex-obsessed teens, you give them sort of establishing character stories behind why they are the way they are. Right. They're sex-obsessed because maybe they got involved in a certain sex crime. Who knows? Maybe, and it just sort of warped their perception.
Sometimes if you are kind of molested, that kind of takes.
Yes. Well, that's exactly what I was implying. One of them could have their whole view of sex sort of warped. Maybe it's a normal thing for them. They're kind of obsessed with it. They're so used to it that it becomes sort of
an addiction.
An addiction, a need, and the other one, could also have a sex addiction.
Like, maybe have this movie be a bit more about mental illness rather than just have the...
Well, that's exactly what I'm getting at.
Rather than just have the
There's a halfway house there, it's filled with characters of...
Well, I'm just let me just finish.
Go ahead.
Like, this movie basically could have been about mental illness and how to process it.
Yes.
But instead, it just basically has, okay, here's a bunch of mental retards. Let's toss them onto the woodpile to be chopped up.
Don't use that word.
I
get what you mean. Mm-hmm. Like, that's kind of the idea from '85. Mm-hmm. And and Vic, the killer, the first killer.
You're 100%. A psychiatrist would have locked him up in a padded room.
But let's say he's got a short temper in the movie, but let's establish that he's got a short temper, and when he gets mad, he doesn't really think straight. Mm-hmm. Right? He's not malicious. Let's not make him malicious, but let's make him somebody who does not know how to handle his anger. His rage. His rage. He doesn't know how to handle his anger.
Heck, him even being in the halfway house may be part of his recovery from being so angry.
But that's exactly it. Maybe he's a recovering... Maybe he's somebody who previously was taken in for violent crimes, and he's just trying to get away from it.
But no, this movie basically just is like, nope, he's the angry psycho.
He's the angry shithead psycho. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, he's the angry psycho punk. That's what people think punk rockers were like in the 80s. And it's like, you don't, like, come on, dude. Cyndi Lauper was fucking popular at the time, and she is a punk artist. Let's not mince words here.
Pop punk.
Pop punk.
Yeah, punk nonetheless.
She made punk popular.
Yeah.
For lack of a better term. Not so much that she was the first to do it, but she was the first to really market it properly as pop punk. In a way.
Right.
Speaking of that, The Goonies, also from '85. Mm-hmm. Which is exactly why he couldn't...
Corey Feldman.
Yeah, which is why Corey Feldman was only in the beginning of this movie and didn't have a whole lot of lines because he was paid by the word, because he was already a big star by this point.
Right.
Because they were... Yeah, because I think 87 would have been Lost Boys, I think. And that's when he and Corey Haim got really big.
Yeah, and they started doing other stuff.
But we're not here to talk about that.
And now Feldman's a terrific activist.
Clean.
His story is just depressing, but I'm so glad he's out of it. He's clean now, and he's gotten better.
I heard he wants to replay Tommy.
Oh, I would love that if he replayed Tommy. Dude. Oh, speaking of, they're doing a reboot.
Yeah, I did recently read that Sean Cunningham was looking to reboot the series, so...
Hey, buddy, here's an idea, guy right here. An idea.
Just listen to our...
Yeah, come on, bud. I could have saved this movie if I were alive back then. And I were in charge of Paramount.
And you were more than, a baby.
Yeah, that's what. If I were alive back then and I were an exec at Paramount, I would have been like, "Here's $3 million, fucking do whatever."
I think that's what they did.
Except they were
too graphic.
Cut it. Except they were probably like, "Here's $1.5 million. That 0.5 that goes to Feldman." I'm sure if they could have used Feldman, they would.
Oh yeah.
They would have probably used him again.
All right.
So you get past the group session. Vic is not a psychopath. He's a guy who's got anger issues. Maybe had violent crimes in the past. And what was his name? God, I'm trying to think of the guy's name.
I want to say Shelley, but that was the guy from part 3.
That's Friday. Yeah, that's
Joey?
Very, very kind of
Joey.
It's a very similar character type.
Yeah, very kind of a similar type, but like
it's not definitely not.
Shelley
one
was
but
just a kind of a nerdy guy.
Shelley was a nerdy guy who did used jokes and morbid humor to sort of.
That's kind of a coping mechanism because he was so socially awkward.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Joey, I think it was. Let me look here. God damn it. Fucking. Nevertheless, yeah, Joey. Nevertheless, you could, then you could have, Tommy and the adults sort of talking, whatever. And then off screen, you could have an accident happen. Somebody gets hurt, one of the kids. You could add an extra kid who gets hurt and has to be taken away. Have an accident. You have Roy Burns show up. Yeah, and I mean, my idea is you keep Roy as the killer because, come on, it's Roy.
And now Vic is a potential red herring character.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah, you bring Roy. An accident happens. The kid gets taken away, but Roy, he's talking with the adult.
Maybe even have a moment where Vic and Joey are about to go at it. But
then cooler heads prevail, and they're
like
come
the
on.
staff shows up and kind of breaks it up.
Yeah, the staff breaks it up, and you know what? What you could do is you could have Vic be like, I overreacted. That's my fault.
Mm-hmm.
I just gotta relax.
I'm gonna go over here, have a cigarette. Leave me alone. Just leave me alone.
Yeah, gonna go back to chopping wood. I'm gonna be left alone. I just would like to be left alone. Thank you.
Wow, we are absolutely killing it with this rewrite.
There's so much stuff you could do with this movie.
Okay, I could actually see this where, let's say Vic is, still, he, like you said, more calm. I want to see Vic and Roy pop.
You go at it. They get into a fight, possibly.
Yep.
Ah, gee.
Axe versus machete.
The question is, how would you write that in? That's the question.
Yeah.
Like, let's say it's during the time where Reggie is meeting Damon, and he's watching
Damon.
Damien. Yeah, and he's watching. The guy and girl are off flattering.
Yeah, right.
So the other head guy goes out looking for them, so that he puts Vic in charge until they get back.
You could have. You could have
the head guy do anything other than just stand around.
Oh, you mean like when Vic gets killed off?
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yes. It won't be as easy as the others.
You could have. You could have Vic be like, he's got an axe, he's ready to fucking go, and he just gets. They go at it, and they eventually gets overpowered.
Yeah.
And then he gets stabbed and dies, and boom, one red herring is gone. Mm-hmm. Oh, that works.
Yeah, just like
that. That I could see.
Like
we could make that work.
He gets chucked around a few times, gets cut maybe here and there. Then all of a sudden he just grabs his axe and just get ready to swing. So he gets angry enough to actually fight Roy.
He's like, that's it. I fucking had it. And he fucking goes to town. They're in the they're in the barn probably. Sure. They're in the barn getting ready to go at it, and Vic gets the axe stuck. And
that's when Roy shoves the machete into the gut.
That's all the opportunity Roy needs to stab him in the back, and not just kill. And don't kill these characters instantly. Have their deaths be agonizing and
make them suffer.
Make them suffer
like a slasher movie would.
like a slasher would. She's stabbed in the back, and Vic loses.
Like what?
He basically his back is broken. He got stabbed in the spine.
Isn't that like Wolf Creek or?
Yes, it's like Wolf's Creek,
okay.
Where he gets stabbed in the spine, and now he's a quadriplegic. Mm-hmm. And Roy just leaves him there to die. Doesn't do anything else. Just leaves him there to bleed out and suffer as he's twitching,
trying to
move, and he can't.
That's a horrifying death.
Vic realizes he's going to die. That's how you get this movie. Mm-hmm. That's how you get this movie from just not a great movie, a bad movie in execution. Although I still like it because it presents a lot of
a better movie than it is.
A way better movie than it is, right? So yeah, that scene could work.
Yeah.
You get back to the accident. They get the student or the kid. Mm-hmm. One of the kids gets taken away to the hospital. Probably not seen for the rest of the movie. Or if you have him at the end of the movie, right after all the killings are done.
Then he just looks and freaks out.
Yeah, well, where he's a survivor because he wasn't part of any of it. Let's say he fucking broke a leg or something. He's got to be at the hospital for a while.
And we could still have Roy be the killer.
And you could still have Roy be the killer. And Roy shows up, and you could have a scene where he looks at Joey, chats with him a bit, and you can definitely tell that there's something between them.
Then,
how does Roy snap then?
Well,
my thinking is that we'll also at some point have a scene.
Joey dies. Joey dies.
Okay, Joey dies in the hospital.
No, he doesn't. No, Joey doesn't get hurt. My idea is he dies from negligence. Like he wandered off, and he dies.
Oh.
And Roy blames everybody else.
So a Pamela Voorhees situation.
Yes, exactly. That's how you want to do it. It's a psychological horror. It's history.
That works so much better than some psycho snapping.
It's literally history repeating itself.
That's brilliant.
Yes. So you get Roy talking with Joey, and Roy's just like, "Hey, how are you doing? You doing okay? Are they treating you well here?" Mm-hmm.
But not admitting that he's his father.
Not admitting that he's his father. It could be a situation where
maybe he's just been a distant father, came back into town fairly recently, sparked up a friendship while still not being comfortable enough to admit the truth.
Exactly. That works wonderfully.
Even maybe have just one of the staff mention that Joey and Roy have been kind of hitting it off in the past few months.
Mm-hmm. You could have the adults know.
Maybe.
They know about it, but they respect Joey and Roy enough not to tell them.
I mean, maybe not reveal that right away. Maybe a later point after Joey.
But once Roy dies, once Roy is defeated, you could have one of the survivors be like, "We didn't know that he would take his son's death so hard. We knew that they were father and son, but we respected them enough that we didn't want to push that situation on either of them. It's just a shame that this had to happen. Just an absolute travesty."
This movie could have been so much better. Yeah. Why were you not around?
I know. That's what I'm saying. You could have, and that's exactly it. You could have Joey get attacked and killed by a bear.
Yeah.
And the park ranger.
I warned you all.
Right. Well,
that could potentially be his snapping moment.
Well, yes, but I was gonna say, Joey. Something happens, and Vic is actually worried for Joey too. Mm-hmm. Let's say he goes missing. He's gone for like a day and a half before, and the staff members are like, "We gotta find him." Mm-hmm. So they call the park ranger. Park ranger says he's going to send his staff out, calls the police. The sheriff says he's going to send his guys out. And Tommy...
Now we've got more bodies for the...
Yeah, right? No.
No. Okay, first of all, Roy got more deaths than Jason did in this movie than the last movie.
Yes, he did. Roy got 10, 12 deaths. Yeah. Well, Jason killed 8 people in the last...
Yeah, but the last movie was one night.
Yeah, it was over the weekend, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just one night.
Yeah, mind you,
this movie has 2.
Mind you, Jason had just got done killing 30 people over the weekend.
He goes, I'm going to go in my shack and take a shit.
John Wayne Gacy would be proud. Of all those teenagers that Jason killed. Those are rookie numbers.
I think another thing this movie could have benefited from was not actually have the killer be dressed up as Jason.
Maybe you could have it be implied that it's Tommy thinking it's Jason.
Mm-hmm. That is entirely possible. I mean, I think what was it? Jason Takes Manhattan. Film Theory did a good explanation of how Jason could teleport in that one dance room scene.
Oh yeah.
With it being the person who was being attacked being dazed and confused. And
right.
and
she was recently doing cocaine, so she was high.
So she
had
a lot going wrong with her.
Yeah.
She was probably hallucinating.
Right. So let's say, and then you get a scene where it's Vic and Tommy, out in the forest. They're paired up, looking for each other, and Tommy, spills the beans to Vic. He's like, when I was a kid, we had a killer, killed my parents, killed a bunch of people,
and I think he's back.
And I thought I killed him a long time ago, but I don't know if I think he's back. And Vic is just like, listen, bud, just relax, all right? If you killed him in the past,
there's no way he could be back.
There's no way he could be back. This was several years ago. Mm-hmm. People would have heard about it, and he's probably dead. This is probably just a horrible accident. And then, cut to a couple of hours later, after everybody's been looking, they're gathered at the house, and the park ranger drives up. He comes back and he takes off his hat, and he's just like, "We found him." They take him to the body, and they
mauled,
just completely destroyed, eviscerated. You don't have to show it on screen, but you could have it gauged from the adults' reactions. And you could have Roy Burns show up and the other paramedic. And the other paramedic is not a fucking asshole. Let's be honest. He's just another guy. He's just like, I'm a regular guy. I work a 9 to 5. I have a bit of morbid humor, but I also know about Roy's situation. And he's actually empathetic to Roy. And everybody, and the people who know that, Joey is Roy's father, they keep their distance. They're just like, we're not gonna deal with this. Mm-hmm. And Roy, he does the stare into the camera. He's pissed. He's fucking livid. He's in his head. He's just like, how could this happen to me? Look how they massacred my boy. and that's the moment,
The snap.
That's the snap. So you got, and the park ranger could, at some point afterwards, they have a meeting in the office, and he's like, "Why weren't you watching your kids more? He wandered off. Where was the staff? This is my park. I told you guys not to wander out alone. I told you guys that something like this could happen.
But did anybody listen? No.
This is on your hands. I know this is on nobody else's. This is your fault. This happened." And that's a character moment where it's like, he could be the killer, Roy could be the killer, Vic could be the fucking killer,
Tommy could be the killer.
Tommy could be the killer.
Maybe it really is Jason back from the dead.
Maybe Jason really is. You've got 5 suspects now.
Yeah. And one of them doesn't even need to actually exist.
Right. So easy. Here,
that's actually very perfect, but that was definitely a more extreme version of Pamela's speech.
Right. Well, yes, but
but having the park ranger who ends up being revealed to not be the killer is giving it is a nice
red herring.
It's a fake out.
A nice feint.
Yeah. So then the question is, how do the killings start? Who does Roy pick first? That's the question.
I say that they keep the
two greasers.
The greasers.
Yeah, you can have the greasers show up.
Apparently, I found out they were supposed to be playing a gay couple.
I mean, did you see the leather they were wearing?
Yes.
I kid. I'm allowed to make those jokes.
I mean, I think we can still keep quite a few of the kills from this movie intact.
Well,
exactly.
The belt around the tree. That one.
I like that one.
That one is great. That one is gruesome.
Because he's crushing the kid's skull.
But you could... How would I set that one up? I mean, yeah, they could wander off and have sex.
Mm-hmm.
But you could also have it where... the girl's killed with the
clippers.
The clippers, and instead of the eyes, Roy fucking gags her, stabs her in the stomach, and spreads it. Fucking spreads her stomach open with those scissors, and then stabs her in the eye. Like she holding her down, stabs her in the stomach, spreads her open, takes it out. She's disemboweled basically, and she's gurgling in her own blood. She's choking because she's fucking gagged with a sock or something, and then stabs her in the face. Just make this guy out to not just to have lost it, but he's angry. He's mad at the world. And that's what these kills kind of are.
Like another plausible explanation for why Roy would be going around into the woods killing people. Also,
he's an excellent woodsman.
Mm-hmm. Also, he's hunting for the bear that killed his son.
Yes, that too. And
he's going through his pent up aggression by also killing off the people he thinks are partly responsible for Joey dying in the first place.
It could also be he's in such a blind rage. His mind is fucking him up so bad with grief and rage and anger. He is convinced that some of these people are bears themselves, and he's fucking attacking them by surprise. He's using guerrilla tactics. Maybe he's a former fucking veteran, which is why he's so good at killing.
Maybe have him get unmasked at some point and just start calling everybody bears.
Yeah.
I'll kill you, you fucking bear.
Motherfucker.
Taking my son away.
How fucking dare you? I'll fucking gut you. I mean, it doesn't even have to be that he could just be blinded with rage. Yeah. Not that he's hallucinating that everybody is a bear.
It would be funny, though.
More like the metaphorical hallucination.
Yeah,
like
right.
He views everybody as being responsible for his son's death as the bear.
He could call them fucking grizzlies because they're all spineless and they attack.
Right, kind of what I was. That was kind of what I was implying with that. Sorry if that got confusing.
You're all gonna pay for it, you fucking grizzlies. And he could be. It could be established that he was a former vet. Possibly fought in Vietnam. Because the movie takes place in like 87, 85. Mm-hmm. So he's an older gent, probably served in Vietnam, saw some shit, and his son's death fucking triggered something.
Seeing the stuff in Vietnam, he has that trigger point already.
Yeah,
he already has that trigger, but then seeing his son's death,
that takes him back.
That takes him back, and it would be
would he have a gun?
Oh no!
Oh no!
No. Do not.
Let's say that
that's like an unspoken rule for a lot of slasher movies. Don't give the killer a gun. That's too easy.
Right.
A spear gun? Maybe. Maybe have them use a gun in the wrongest way possible, like in Halloween 4.
Yeah.
Damn. I really kick myself for not being on that one. Because all the rest are schlock.
Dude, I kind of like that one. That's it. That's the last one where I thought, it's all right.
But never have the slasher use a gun the right way.
You could give him a crossbow.
Crossbow, spear gun.
Yeah, I mean, you could give him a crossbow, and the kid, he finds the girl fucking stabbed, disemboweled, fucking stabbed in the face, just mutilated to fuck, and he could. Take a step back, and his hand goes up against a tree, and
and
Roy comes out. He's he's off camera, right?
So you see the kill happening, you don't see the killer.
The kill happening, but you see the kid going, "Why are you doing this? Why?"
Also, so this movie would be taking a Friday the 13th 1 approach.
Yes.
Of not showing the killer until the big reveal.
Not showing the killer until the reveal.
Yes.
Yes.
But, occasionally having, like, Jason wandering through the woods.
Jason wandering around as a hallucination.
But only Tommy would see him.
Yeah. Right, exactly.
Well, like, let's say, like, Tommy is with Victor looking, and then he has the hallucination, and he goes running.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
And that's how Vic dies.
And then we get a scene with somebody getting killed.
It could be that, like... Yeah, it could be like Vic and Tommy are like, all right, we got this. And then the killer walks through the door, and, Tommy thinks it's Jason because he's convinced that Jason is back from the dead. Mm-hmm. So instead of seeing Roy, he sees Jason, and he's so petrified with fear, he turns tails and runs.
And by this point, we've kind of established that Tommy has been seeing Jason here and there.
Yes.
So we're not even sure if the Jason that Tommy is seeing is even real.
Yes, exactly. And that's
like the Maynard Jasons in the actual.
And so it's not that Tommy is a coward. It's that
he's struck with fear.
It's that Tommy
wants to end this for good.
But he's so terrified of confronting his past that he can't see the present. And so he turns tail and run, and Vic is like, "Tommy! No, where are you going?" And he's stuck by himself now with Roy, and Roy fucking kills him that way in the barn.
Like, I think that would be a good scene to establish that Tommy isn't the killer.
That Tommy isn't the killer. Yeah. Exactly. So you eliminate one red herring that way.
And potentially two with Jason just kind of showing up.
Yes, that too. And then Vic dies. That's 3 red herrings.
But also potentially setting up maybe a second killer.
Exactly. See, that scene works because it kills 3 red herrings at once. It gets rid of Tommy, it gets rid of potentially Jason, and it gets rid of Vic. As 3 potential killers.
I just want to see Vic snap.
Oh, dude, he'd be so fucking...
Just like he just gets
like that's it. I'm fucking
like literally he gets a machete slice to like shoulder, but it doesn't do that much damage, but it hurts.
Hits him in the shoulder, and he's just like, "That's it, motherfucker!" Fucking slashes at his face with the axe. Like he has his hand up near where the blade is, and he's trying to sideswipe him, hits Roy in the arm, so Roy's just like fuck, doesn't talk, he's just
like
and Vic is just like, all right, that's it, I've had enough of this shit, you're going down.
Stuck in the barn.
Yeah, it'd be like fucking Ash in Evil Dead 2. You're going down.
Still haven't seen that movie.
Oh, that's it.
I have it though.
Yes, so do I.
Me too.
Oh, we're gonna have fun when we get to those movies.
Yeah, you can have. So after the 2 teens are killed off, you could establish it sort of as like not this. All this doesn't happen overnight. All this fucking. You could even make Demon possibly.
I mean, I want to keep Demon.
No,
I like Demon.
You could have Demon possibly be a red herring, as somebody who just recently got out of prison for murder. When he was younger, he's kind of a violent guy. Not like Vic, where Vic has anger issues, but like Demon is just like.
Let's say Demon had to defend himself in a certain way, and something happened.
Yes. Maybe, possibly. Like, you could have Vic... Yeah, you could have Vic be the victim of... For a pun. Vic be the victim of sort of losing to his anger and getting into a violent crime that he sort of regrets, and that's why he's in this halfway house. Whereas Demon is just straight up fucking... I got no remorse for what I did.
Actually, I kind of like Demon as he is in this movie.
But you could still have him have that same personality.
Right, but
but he has no regrets what he did in his gang life, let's say.
He doesn't regret what he did, but he's still generally a nice guy.
No, what I mean is, he acts tough, but when the chips are down, he's a fucking coward.
No, let's go to the shitter scene.
Yeah! Yeah, exactly.
Well, you could easily. Oh,
I'd be startled too if I'm in the middle taking a shit.
You could easily reason that scene as he was caught off guard. He's stuck in a place where he can't fight, and he's being attacked from the outside. What is he supposed to do? He's not just gonna run. He's stuck in a bad place, and there's nothing he can do about it.
I still prefer the reveal that he's a coward, but let's agree to disagree.
Right. Okay. But let's make Demon sort of a red herring. He shows up after the first two. He shows up after the two teens are killed. Right.
Okay.
Shows up. He comes over to visit Reggie, and let's say his grandpa's just like, I don't want you talking with that boy. I don't want you talking with Demon.
He's my brother.
Demon's a bad influence. Demon's a bad influence, man. He'll poison you. He'll corrupt you.
Sounded like a preacher.
Tommy could also be in that scene too, and he's introduced the Demon. They could talk a little bit, whatnot. So sort of,
or the little talking Tommy does in this entire movie.
Give Tommy connections to these people. Have him get relationships with these people over the next few days. So it's ultimately more tragic that he ultimately does lose everybody, and you can still keep that obsession with Jason in the end, where it's just like, I've got to know for sure if Jason is dead. I got to know, because at the end of the movie, it could be like, I'm ready to face my past.
Instead of, I'm just going to stand here like an idiot and let the guy attack me.
Right, exactly.
Oh my god, that annoyed me. Well, I could understand, like, is it an illusion or is it not an illusion?
Exactly. He could have been so petrified with fear, but it did a poor job.
And he took a machete to the chest.
I just hate how for all this, for how Tommy is prone to violence, when finally confronted with the guy who is dressed as the killer he killed, he just stands there completely immobile.
So you could have the next day happen, and now the kids are missing. The two teens are missing, and they eventually find them in the clearing, and the park ranger is he's sort of mortified, and sort of he's hanging out in the background. And you could have Roy also come in to take those bodies, and he could be a little less empathetic. He could be
more cold and distant.
He could be more cold and distant, and have the park ranger in the background. He's just sort of leaning up against his truck. He's just shaking his head with a little bit of a sneer on his face. He's just
red is such a red herring.
Yeah, dude, it's so great the way that I have this in my head. Dude, I should write a book on this.
Yeah.
Write a book on that. I'll steal Friday the 13th 5's plot and just make it my own. What are they gonna do? Sue me?
Well, they already went through a lawsuit on a video game. I don't think they want to go through that shit again.
Yeah, right.
I don't think it was solely the video game.
But Friday the 13th.
But you know what they say? They say imitation is the purest form of flattery.
Sincerest.
Is the sincerest form of flattery. What was it? I forgot the phrase. It was like something along the lines of like, artists take, geniuses steal. Something along those lines.
So are AI programs geniuses then?
Yes, because they steal.
Yes.
And they're kind of programmed to be. Yeah. So.
Fuck AI.
So yeah, you have Roy haul these people off, everything like that. You could have the sheriff walk up. You could have the sheriff, come to the adults, come to the halfway house, and be like, "All right, here's what's up. I talked with the park ranger. We're gonna have security here. We're gonna have a patrol officer here in shifts. You know, every 8 hours, there's going to be a shift of a patrol officer. We're gonna keep your kids protected. We're gonna make sure you're safe. Because whoever killed these kids, and it's established, these kids were murdered. Well,
like it's
yes. You can, so you know, killing the one teen, you know, an arrow bolt to the hand against the tree, and then Roy can wrap him around the tree, fucking break his arm, twist it out of socket, push his head against the tree, wrap a belt around it, and then crush his skull with it. And you could do it that way, and that honestly might work a lot better, because then you get the just gnarly visual of his arms bent back, completely backwards, like broken off at the joint, and his entire skull is caved in above the nose, and it's just like, there you go. That's a visual.
Now, something that I've kind of been ruminating on in my head is maybe we should have Roy dressed up, not necessarily as Jason,
right,
but in a way that makes him kind of, maybe from a distance,
that obscures
or
him.
in shadow, makes him look a bit Jason-y.
He could be wearing, he could be.
So not a jumpsuit. No way, that's Michael.
Not a You could tell you what, you could do the Friday 2 look. The overalls and the plaid shirt. That works, and it's like
and the reason I'm thinking that's how it should do is something that I'll get into later when we finally have the confrontation between Tommy and him.
But you could it's a callback.
Mm-hmm.
But just in that first scene, off in the distance, you see him come in. His face is obscured, obviously, by leaves and everything, but you see him lower the crossbow bolt and start walking up. And the kid sees who it is, and he's just like, "Why are you doing this?" And without saying anything, comes up, shoots him first, and then you get a shot of him with the overalls and plaid shirt, a callback to part 2, walking up.
You!
Why are you doing this to me? What the fuck, man?
What did I ever do to you, man?
And fucking kills him right then and there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that works. And then the next night, it could be raining, so he's wearing, a rain suit, like a jumpsuit.
Mm-hmm.
That makes him resemble part 3.
Exactly. Yeah, he could be like that. Sort of a longer shirt, jeans. He's covered,
but done in a way that makes it look like how he looks in the three previous movies. Kind of give the illusion that maybe Jason is back.
Exactly. See, that's exactly. It.
I would also like when they're in the movie where Roy is chasing Pam and Reggie.
That's their name, Pam.
That's a certain point. Reggie comes out with a tractor.
Oh my god, with a track loader, yeah. But that's going to be one of my biggest rules. Don't kill Reggie. Needs to survive.
Oh, definitely.
There's zero reason to kill him. I may be heartless, but I'm not demented.
No child actually dies in any of these movies.
No.
Keep that intact.
Exactly. But I believe that's where they slightly weaken Roy.
Jason tries to kill one kid. 2. I mean, he tries to kill Tommy, but
he was annoyed.
He doesn't succeed.
That's the key point.
And then in the next movie,
there's kids at the camp.
Minor spoilers. There's kids at the new camp, Crystal Lake, and he doesn't kill any of them. I mean, he stalks them, and it's really creepy. But he doesn't actually try and kill them. He's just sort of like, I'm leaving these kids alone. They didn't do fucking shit to me.
There's a scene in the next one that we're gonna watch eventually, whenever that'll be. But it's like he just literally is looking at her, and obviously she just kind of sees him, and she just starts praying.
Yeah, she starts praying, and he walks away.
He's like, "No religion."
Because it's established that Jason doesn't kill kids, and he doesn't kill the animals. Well, he doesn't kill domesticated animals necessarily. Not like Michael. Michael will fucking kill anything. Which is...
You got hungry.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, where are we at? We're right after the kids got killed and the bodies were found and everything. And you could have sort of a scene where it's like, we've lost 4 kids. Three have been killed. One's been hospitalized in the span of 3 days. And you could, theoretically, have the adults eyeing Tommy. Because none of this was happening until he got here.
Right.
And it could be
and this could be before the confrontation between Vic and Roy.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. No, Vic's going to be one of the last to die. He's going to be one of the last people to die in the movie. Because he's on the final night. Because Tommy runs away. And Vic, he has to fight on his own. And
here's how I'm thinking that should be restructured a bit. Maybe have Tommy see Jason off in the distance and run off. Right. Vic goes chasing after him, but gets lost in the woods. Yeah. And then he's attacked by the killer.
Right. And
that eliminates him as a red herring, but you
could even have it. Going with that idea, yeah, you could easily do that. And you could have it that Vic gets lost in the woods and he accidentally, instead of, in the barn, he actually gets his...
Right, yeah, that works just as well.
Yeah, his axe gets stuck on a tree and that's all Roy needs to kill him. What you could do is that Tommy has a fucking... He has a panic attack, he gets a mental... He just freaks out. He gets a case of PTSD. Maybe it could be like a car sputtered or something, like an engine blew up, right? Makes a loud noise because that backfired. It tends to cause
boom.
Loud noises tends to cause stuff in people, and Tommy could have just a PTSD attack, and he sees fucking Jason in the corner of his mind.
Here's how I think the whole car backfiring should be established. Just like have a cutaway scene where 2 characters like on the edge of the woods are trying to start their car, and then there's a backfire. Then it cuts to Tommy, who's still with Vic, and then Tommy thinks he sees Jason and then runs off.
Well, my idea was, they're at the halfway house. They're just doing an outdoor activity, and the car fucking sputters.
Oh, so this is unrelated.
This is unrelated to them. They're not out in the woods. They're at the halfway house. Okay. And everybody's outside. They're doing a group activity. You could have Vic working on a car. Because he's kind of a kind of a greaser.
Better.
And he's talking to one of the other guys. He's talking to one of the staff members maybe who's inside the car, and he's like, "All right, give it a rev. Try to turn it on," and it sputters, and Vic realizes something's about to go wrong, so he gets out of the way, and the car makes a loud bang, like the engine blew up or something, and Tommy gets a PTSD attack. He's looking around, and out of the corner of his eye, he hallucinates and sees Jason. And
that'll be the first time we see Jason.
Yeah, and he fucking books it for the woods. He fucking goes, and he's off. And the Pam and the director and them, he's like, we gotta fucking get him. He's not supposed to be out in the woods. We gotta fucking get him before something bad happens because there's a murderer on the loose, right? So you have the cop who's there. One of the cops who's there, fucking goes off with them. Vic volunteers to go with, and he's like, we'll make sure we find him, And
who finds Tommy?
Vic. It's a jump scare-esque fake out.
It'll be a thing where Vic finds Tommy in the woods.
But it's done in such a way where Tommy initially the audience may think that maybe it's the killer or Jason.
Yeah.
But no, it's just Vic.
It's just Vic, and you get the jump scare, and he's backed up into a corner, and fucking Vic slaps some sense into him, and he's like, "Motherfucker, it's just me. Relax." You sort of freaked out there, and you ran off into the woods.
You okay, man?
You okay, man? Everybody's been looking for you. We need to get you back to the We need to get you back to the house right away. And then Tommy's breathing. He's okay, breathing, and then he looks over Vic's shoulder, and there's fucking Roy wearing the jumpsuit because there's supposed to be a storm tonight. You could have thunder coming down, just starting because it's just cloudy.
It's like getting close to nighttime.
It's getting close.
It's dim out.
Yeah, it's like
dawn.
Yeah, no, not dawn. It's like
dusk.
Or dusk. That's the word.
Let's say it's like 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock at night. The sun's starting.
It's visibly getting darker.
It's visibly getting darker, and there's a little bit of thunder. It's a bit cloudy. They're saying that hey, there's a storm coming in, and so you get how dare you? You get the evening.
I don't want to talk to you anyway.
You get the evening sun starting to come down, and Vic finds Tommy, and all the other guys are finding, while everybody else is also out looking for them. And out of the corner, over the shoulder, you get Tommy's perspective, and he leans over, and then you see Roy in the part 3 getup because it's supposed to rain.
Mm-hmm. We don't see his face. It's once again covered by leaves, covered by tree branches and everything.
Brush.
And Tommy goes from being calm to I gotta get the fuck out of here, and he fucking shoves Vic out of the way and fucking runs because he thinks it's Jason again. And so Vic is just like, hey, what the fuck? And then he turns around, whips around, and he sees Roy, and there's the confrontation. And because Vic is always prepared, he's got a fucking hatchet. Let's say
it's just a hatchet, not a full blown axe.
Yeah, not a full blown axe. He has a hatchet, and they get into the fight, and Vic gets tragically killed.
Okay.
Yeah, that is great. It's a tragic character death, and he gets left dying. He's not
able to move.
He's not able to move anymore. He's a quadriplegic for all intents and purposes. And Roy leaves him because he knows that there was a witness. He needs to get that person before anybody else can find him. Because otherwise, Roy is... and that's how he reasons into killing so many more people. Because he's like, oh fuck, I've got a witness. I've got to kill everybody now. At this point, he's blinded by rage, sure, but he's not an idiot.
He's still seeing them bears.
He still sees them as grizzlies, and they're all out to get him. They're all out to betray him. But Tommy fucking saw him, and that's why he's going after Tommy specifically. And so, the hunt begins. So you get Pam,
I don't think we should have the scene explicitly establish that he's going after Tommy.
No, that's the point. But that's the motivating factor.
He wants to get him, but he'll get everyone else.
He's gonna get everyone else along the way. But because he knows Tommy witnessed him, but he also knows that if Vic was out looking for Tommy, other people are out looking for Tommy too. And those people are going to be extremely vulnerable. Now, the cop, he does have a gun. Alright? We're going to give the slasher a gun, but only on the last night, because the cop is going to be one of the last to die. Okay? So basically, in the order of kills, Pam finds Tommy, and they go back to the halfway house. But the director and the cop are killed by Roy. Ambushed by Roy. He fucking uses Vietnam guerrilla tactics on them.
The director in the actual movie has a railroad spike in his skull.
It'd be like in First Blood, where the thing comes down and the cop gets the spike.
I love that movie.
He gets the spike in the leg, and he's like, ah! And then Roy comes up, slits his throat, fucking leaves him there, steals his gun. And then they get back to the halfway house, and then they hear gunshots. Just a fury of them. And the director isn't back yet. Roy got the director, and he unloaded that entire gun on the director.
We don't find that out until later.
We don't see it. We don't see that, but it's heavily implied. Roy,
we eventually find the body.
We eventually find it, and
probably during the climax.
And there's 2 shots in the leg, 2 shots in the arm, 1 in the stomach, 1 in the heart, and 1 in the head.
That's 7 bullets.
And then others are splattered just everywhere in the chest. The rest is in the chest, but there's 2 here, 1 here, chest.
So
yeah, he goes, it's implied that he shot the director in the legs, left him fucking trying to crawl away, shot him in the arm to keep him from moving.
I think he should maybe only have 6 bullets.
Oh, and make it a revolver, yeah.
Yeah, because
1, 2, 2, 4, 5, 6.
Because this is the 80s. Cops in the 80s had revolvers.
Yeah.
Look at Dirty Harry, Mad Bull 34 or whatever it's called.
So Roy unloads the gun on it. So right. we're gonna give him that gun for that 1 kill.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, because it's not Jason.
It's not Jason, and we don't see it, so therefore we can cheat a bit.
Yes, exactly.
Ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom.
And so like everybody at the halfway house hears the gunshots, and Pam is like, "Oh no, everybody get inside." Mm-hmm. She goes to the police car that's still there. She fucking grabs the radio, radios in for help, and the park ranger hears it on his radio, and so cavalry's coming to save the day.
That also reveals that he's not the killer.
He's not the killer as well. And then you get a shot from the paramedics, who are going to be from the paramedic station. And they also get a call.
Roy is noticeably absent.
But it's implied that he might be there. Because nobody checked in on him. Nobody knows that he's not there.
In fact, somebody may even be calling for Roy over this radio.
They could be like, get Roy, get several paramedics, we gotta go. Because Roy could be the head paramedic. He could be in charge of the station. So they're like,
somebody get in touch with Roy. We gotta get the ambulance out.
We gotta get the ambulance out. Boom! A feint.
There you go.
Implies that Roy is not the killer.
Mm-hmm. Until the reveal that he is.
Yes. So we go back to the house. She fucking locks up the doors and everything, and then the storm starts. And it's just a great shot. And then what Roy does next is diabolical. Because here are all these people, all these staff members. Demon could also be there. Because he was visiting at the time that this happens. So shit's gone sideways. Everybody is locked indoors. The house is locked up. Nobody's outside. They closed the windows and everything. And Roy sees it as an opportunity. There's a bunch of sheep locked inside that house.
Time to go kill the bears in their den.
Time to burn the den down. And he fucking lights the barn on fire. He grabs some gasoline from the farm, lights the barn on fire. Because water's not going to take out a gasoline fire.
No.
Wait, why is it in a barn now? I thought it was in the halfway house.
Yeah, it is in the halfway house, but he's burning down the barn at the halfway house.
Is the barn connected to the halfway house?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and then he goes around to the front, and they don't have a gun, right? So none of the people there have a gun, so they can't really defend themselves. And he throws gasoline on the front door, and he lights it on fire, and the fire begins to spread. And now there's a bunch of people stuck inside the fucking house, and now the killing spree is on. This is the moment Roy has been waiting for. So let's refresh here, right? Joey is dead. Vic is dead.
The sex-crazed lovers.
The sex-crazed teens are dead.
The
The
head guy and the cop are dead.
The head guy and the cop are dead. Yep, the director and the cop are dead. So it's Reggie, Demon, the cook, a couple of other staff members.
Tommy's still missing.
Tommy is still missing. Yeah, no, Pam found Tommy.
No.
I'll
get to that soon enough.
Okay.
Okay.
We could.
I do have an idea.
Well, actually, let's say Pam. Well, yeah. All right.
I do have an idea.
Pam hears the gunshots and she fucking runs back to the halfway house. Let's do that.
Okay.
Yeah. So Tommy is still missing for all intents and purposes.
So he could still potentially be the killer.
He could still potentially be the killer. Yes. And yeah. So you've got the three teens that were already there, the stutterer and the dance kid. And
the dance kid and the random.
They get off while they're trying to escape.
Yeah, So the way I'm envisioning it is, the stutterer, he fucking breaks open. He grabs a chair, breaks open a window, and he starts climbing out to escape. Wham! Right on the head, decapitated instantly, and everybody sees this, and they're like, "Oh my god!" So they know there's a killer outside. The house is on fire. The barn is on fire. There is no escape from this killing spree.
We only got 2 other potential exits. The other 2 kills block those off.
Yes.
Leaving Pam and Reggie stuck inside the burning building.
Yes.
Roy goes in. This is when we finally get to see Roy in his full costume.
Exactly.
Wearing a mask. Not Jason mask.
Yep.
But maybe just a hunting mask.
He's wearing a gas mask. Because from his Vietnam days, he's wearing a gas mask.
Okay, that's better than what I was thinking.
Yeah,
let's keep going.
So he could ventilate, or like a fire gas mask even. Because he's a paramedic.
And we still don't quite see his face.
Yeah, but that could also be hey, that's a reference to My Bloody Valentine.
And so he's starting to corner Pam and Reggie.
Yeah, Demon. Do we kill Demon off during the killing?
I honestly kind of feel like him being killed off in the shitter is just... I like that scene. I want to keep that.
How about he tries to escape from the bathroom?
I still like the...
Okay, but where would you fit it in? Where would you slot it in?
I'd say it's right on the edge of the forest, and maybe he's the first of the red herrings to be off.
Maybe, yeah, that's fair, yeah. He's killed...
We could have that, towards the beginning of the second night.
He's killed... He's killed in an outhouse.
You could see the girlfriend's pulse.
Yeah.
Just
yeah, right.
But no. Now, Roy has Pam and Reggie cornered in the burning house when all of a sudden a door nearby gets kicked in. Tommy
shows up.
Mm-hmm. He sees Roy in his outfit and kind of cuts back and forth between Tommy and Roy.
And you could have it be he thinks it's Jason, but
he's superimposed. Sometimes when it switches back to Roy, it's Jason.
But the facade is breaking away because the mask is different, and that's what breaks it for Tommy.
Mm-hmm. I think it more like him still hallucinating that it is Jason, but him starting to finally come to terms with, I need to deal with this problem.
Maybe, yeah.
Does Tommy get cut?
He's not going to stand there like a fucking moron in the movie.
Yeah.
This is his moment to actually come to terms.
Let's say he kicks the door open, and Roy is he's distracted.
They have that stare down, like in the final movie,
and that gives Pam and Reggie just enough time to fucking
get out the window that was broken.
Beat a hasty retreat. They fucking get out. They get out of there, and so it's Tommy and Roy.
Roy Jason.
Yeah.
Roy.
And the big confrontation begins, and so Tommy's just like, come here, come get me, come get me, all throughout the burning house, because Tommy goes in by himself, and he's finally confronting it. He doesn't care that the building's burning. He might be suffocating. He's breathing in a bunch of black smoke and a bunch of shit, but he's dealing with it, and.
Anything other than him just standing around.
Yeah.
Getting cut by a little biatch.
Right. But it could be that Roy knocks Tommy out. Maybe, here's an idea, Roy fucking throws Tommy through a window and fucking completely, broken glass everywhere. And Tommy's fucking knocked out on the front deck. He's thrown out the window where Reggie and Pam had just escaped. So maybe it could be Reggie and Pam, they get out the window, there's a shot from the side of the house. They just get out, and they hear a bit of struggling, and Tommy's like, come get me! And then next thing you see, whoosh! fucking defenestrated through the window. He's knocked out.
Love that word, don't you?
Yeah, he's knocked out, and Roy, calmly, like Jason would, a little bit of blood comes out of his hand, and he crawls through the window, and he's staring at Pam and Reggie, and the chase is on, and we get the classic Friday the 13th. Fucking, I almost said final fight.
You were thinking about that Street Fighter.
I was thinking about that Street Fighter thing. But we get the final. We get that classic.
Like the final girl chase.
We get the final girl chase, but it's Pam and Reggie, and we find all the bodies. We find the director's body. We find yada yada yada, and they're going through the forest. They find Demon's body in the outhouse, which is just off a ways because who knows what he was fucking doing.
Trying to take a deuce, and his girlfriend.
You know what? My theory is he went off to do some pot,
smoke a J,
smoke some dope, and got killed there. And so, when do we want the park? So the $1 million question is, do we want the park ranger to live or not? My theory is, I would like him to live. I would like him to actually be the one to shoot Roy, and then Tommy does the kill. Like a 1-2 punch. You know what I mean?
Tommy manages to recover and catches up with them.
Yes.
Has like a wood axe.
Yep.
And
has Vic's axe. Like his Vic's big axe that he's had most of the movie.
I thought he had a hatchet.
He did have a hatchet, but he's always prepared. He has a hatchet.
Okay.
But for the work he uses it.
For the work, he uses a big axe. And during that fight, where him and Joey almost go at it, he has an axe. And then they're broken up.
Okay, so Tommy, hey fucker!
Yeah.
That hits Roy in the face, knocking his mask off, finally revealing who the killer is.
Not when he falls. No, does he fall off?
He falls over. And he climbs.
Wait, the barn's on fire, so he's not going to fall out of that.
Well, they're not even in the barn.
No, they're not in the barn. They're out in the woods where they find the directors and the cops' bodies and everything. But the way I envision it, there's the camera. The camera's pointing towards the masked Roy. Chop, face, Roy. Gets hit in the face.
We of course get a shot of the
gas mask. The mask falls off. Roy does like a.
We get a shot of like the gas mask rolling along the ground.
But we also get Roy. I was gonna say we get Roy doing a pirouette, hitting the ground, and then he sits up and his back's to the camera, and he gets up and then he turns around and boom, it's Roy and he's got a big cut on his face. And he's just like, "You're gonna get it for that one, you fucker."
I'll slaughter all you grizzlies!
I'll slaughter all of you!
All you damn grizzly bears!
It's all your fault!
Give me back my son!
Well,
there you go.
Sorry, sir, but the bear's got to poop it out yet. We haven't found it.
I mean, it could also be established that they did find the bear and killed it. But Roy doesn't know that.
Right, right.
Roy doesn't know that. And so the sheriff...
We can establish that after the...
And then you get... So then there's the big showdown, right? And the way I see it, in the background, you barely see it, but coming through the woods, having heard all that noise, it's the park ranger. And he's got a rifle. And just out of the corner of your eye, Tommy notices this. And Roy...
Like maybe it's like a fake hint of recognition when he sees Roy.
Yeah.
Like we think, oh, he recognizes Roy. No, he sees the park ranger.
He's just like, and Roy uses this instant because Tommy's distracted temporarily. He goes to raise up. He's about to kill Tommy, and next thing you hear is, boom, and he looks down. There's a hole in his stomach because there was a shotgun blast. And so he's just like
if we're gonna be a bit creative, maybe show the blast.
Yeah, just go. Oh, and then Tommy, he takes the opportunity. Decapitation, just like in part 1. It all goes full circle, and so who are the survivors? It's Pam, it's Reggie, it's Tommy, the park ranger, and the sheriff are all the survivors.
And that other paramedic who's not a jerk.
And the other paramedic who's not the jerk. He arrives and he's like, I didn't realize it was Roy all along. I should have known. He took his son's death real bad.
I think didn't realize he took his son's death so bad.
I know he wasn't always there for the boy, but they had just started it was a wonderful thing between the two, and it's just
I would definitely rate this movie higher than
It's so much smarter. Tommy can still have that obsession then, and he's like,
that would make sense for the next.
Yeah, but you could have the closing line for it, because to lead into the next movie, you could be like, I don't know if Jason's really dead or not. Maybe he is. Maybe I'm just crazy, but I gotta find out for myself. Boom! Cut the movie. Movie's over. There you go. Lead into part 6. Jason lives. There you go.
Yeah.
See, I'm telling you, this is why I was like, I like this movie because it had potential.
Exactly. They would have done everything that you said.
Yeah, they had to. Yeah, because the issue is the more you repeat slashers without doing anything different, it's just the more repetitive and the less intuitive they get. So like Friday the 13th Part 1, it was a regular slasher, but it also had a bit of psychological thriller to it.
And the nice plot twist of it being a woman for once.
Part 2, was a straight up slasher, but it was actually a great slasher because not a lot of movies had been like it.
No.
Friday the 13th was very intuitive in in its story and how it presented its kills. And by the time you get to like Part 4 of Halloween, like even Friday the 13th Part 2, while not a great movie, is at least interesting. And just it's a very weird movie, and dare I say a very gay movie. A gay musical called Gay. That's
gay.
That's
gay. We'll discuss that more in October.
Yeah. But you get to Part 4 and it's like, all right, you've been there, done that, and you add Tommy, and the twist is Tommy's the one who kills Jason, not Tommy's sister, the actual final girl.
Right. Right.
Yeah, that's always something.
That's a twist on the brand, and this this would be more of a like a First Blood. A Rambo First Blood, for those of you who don't know what First Blood is. It's the first Rambo movie. Not a lot of people, for whatever reason, actually know that First Blood is the first Rambo movie. They're like,
probably because it doesn't have Rambo in the title.
because it doesn't have Rambo in it.
Even though Rambo is called Rambo First Blood Part 2.
Yeah, it's like a bit of First Blood. I'm trying to think of other movies, a bit like Wolf's Creek. Just sort of a psychological thriller, Psycho. Yeah, sort of a mix between those three, but you put it in the Friday the 13th universe, and it works because the first 4 movies are already established to have been straight slashers, and the killer's already dead. What more can you do? Well, you add a universe where one character has already been supremely damaged by what this killer did in the last few movies. Despite that killer being dead, you had several characters who are damaged and live in the same area for different reasons. You had a character who's already got a very fragile mental state, who is a Vietnam vet, lives in the area, is not completely mentally sound, And in this universe, this town is already covered in darkness, and the last thing it needs is more violence and more darkness to cloud over it, to wash over it, and that's exactly what happens. And so, it's the perfect melting pot. If you're gonna do a Part 5 and not have the killer be the killer, then do something different with it. Don't just have it be, it's a fake out, it's not actually Jason. actually give these characters stakes. Give these characters reasons for why.
I feel that the first 4 Friday the 13th movies add something to the series.
Don't tell me part 3. Oh, it's got 3D effects.
Well,
no, part 1, we get the reveal that Pamela is the killer. Yes. So that's like one of the first. It's a female killer.
Part 2 is even a psychological drama when you think about it.
We get part 2, which properly introduces Jason rather than him being a nightmare.
Yeah.
And actually revealing he didn't die all those years ago.
Which kind of fucks up Pamela's whole deal.
I know, but she had no idea.
Right. But that's exactly it.
3, he gets the mask, the iconic mask.
Yep.
You can't get rid of the mask.
And then 4 introduces Tommy.
Introduces Tommy and kills off Jason. What does 5 do? Nothing that isn't undone by the 6th movie.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And that's the sad part. Because part 5 could have been... This is a setup to part 6. Where Tommy, because of this experience, is driven... Just because of this tragedy. Which was not his fault. Was nobody's fault. Just a series of extremely unfortunate accidents that led to somebody... snapping and a bunch of people dying because of it.
This movie didn't even need to take place at Crystal Lake.
Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't. And it really doesn't for the most part when you think about it.
Right. I mean, the only thing that establishes it as being near Crystal Lake is the mayor and the sheriff referencing Jason.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to have it at Crystal Lake, have it from like the other side of the park. You know, you're like, yeah, I mean, this is the same town, but this town has gotten bigger over the years.
I think in your rewrite of the movie, it should be maybe within the same state, but not not so close that.
How about maybe the same county? Because I'm saying
I'm just wanting to establish a bit of time between the end of this rewrite of the movie and the start of 6.
You could say that this. Well, you could have 6 be, a couple of years afterwards, because after all this,
I just mean because you're setting up that he would want to finally see for himself.
He would want to finally see for himself, but
see if Jason is actually.
But you could also have it where like before I do that, I have to take care of myself first before I know for certain. And he goes and gets help, and he.
Which ties into the whole mental illness thing that this movie is kind of...
He goes and gets help, and, by part 6, it could be established that I finally was strong enough mentally that I could finally take care of myself. I have not moved on from it, but I have finally controlled it. I have taken control of my own life again. And it could... Because you could have part 5... basically be, this is Tommy when he's not in control, and he is not, and he's never been in control throughout the entire movie. His mind has taken control of him. He has not taken control of his mind. In part 6, it could be established that now that he has finally somewhat mentally salvaged, he can finally do what he wanted to do at the end of 5, which is make sure that Jason is dead. And unfortunately, he brings Jason back to life.
But that's the whole topic for next year.
And part 6, if we're going to do a rewrite of part 5, we might as well do a rewrite of part 6, right? Or would we rather largely keep part 6 the same?
I'm okay with 6, honestly.
I mean, I like 6 too as well. It would make a way more sense with my rewrite of part 5, honestly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that's what I like about this movie. It's fucking terrible in execution. It leaves a lot on the table. It begs desperately for a good movie to come out of that script.
When we started this, I was expecting us to just have a discussion about some of the things that you thought the movie could have done better. I was not expecting a whole movie rewrite. And I'm glad I was wrong in my assumption.
Right.
I am so glad that I felt compelled to sit down and.
So right, with that said, does that sort of change your opinion on the movie of sort of what the potential could have been?
I'd still give the movie as is
a 5 out of 10.
Yeah.
But do you look a little differently upon Part 5?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Seeing the potential that could have been there, and that the studio and Paramount.
I mean, you clearly helped me to see a alternate version where this movie was awesome.
Where this movie
was
great.
great.
Not only could be good, but probably could have been the best in the series. Just from the premise alone that Jason's dead, Tommy's in a halfway house, tragedy happens, people start fucking dying, but Tommy thinks it's Jason. When you write it like that, you're like, that's a good...
That has the potential to be great. The movie as is a very flawed execution. Yes, an extremely flawed execution. And you notice we didn't bring the Hillbilly family into the rewrite.
Thank God.
Because this movie
not have to be in the fucking first movie.
This movie would have little to no.
I mean, we're gonna have the motorcycle decapitation scene be something else.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's one of the better kills in the movie, and it doesn't really matter how it happens.
They hurt me! It's just like, fuck off. That character did not really deserve to die. I mean, he was an asshole, sure. I kept thinking of it more like, why did you write this character like this?
Why did you write these characters into the movie outside of establishing the homeless guy looking for work as being a red herring? That's literally the only thing they're there for outside of...
Take the homeless guy, make him the park ranger. He's going to... I mean, if you're going to have him if you're going to have the Hillbilly family in the movie, you have him going around being like...
I mean, heck, the sex-crazed couple could have just been brought in by the sheriff. You didn't need to bring in the owner of the property.
Yeah, exactly.
It could just be a case of some other property they'd gone to, and the sheriff being like, I told you to keep an eye on these kids and keep them on your property.
Yeah, if you're going to have the Hillbilly family, you have the homeless guy be a park ranger, and you're like, hey, I'm here to do inspections, and the woman is just like, motherfucker, we've been doing this song and dance for 5 fucking years.
Why don't you just fuck me already?
We've been doing this song and dance for 5 fucking years. How long is it going to take for you to realize everything's up to fucking code? Why don't you just fuck me, alright? Dude, that'd be the one funny line in that movie. In that rewrite. Because I'm just saying, that the rewrite I had in mind, it's devoid of... Because, Friday the 13th, there's supposed to be some funny moments in it. I'm like, no, this is a serious character drama. There's going to be little to no humor in it. Maybe a couple of moments of levity.
Right, I still feel like Demon should die like a bitch.
Why do you hate him?
I don't hate him. In fact, he's probably my favorite character in this movie because he tries to come off as a tough guy, but ends up dying like a bitch.
There's a lot of characters in other horror movies that are like the big tough guy or something that just end up dying like bitches.
Yeah, and that's why I think... Plus, I think the actor who played Demon does a pretty fantastic job.
Good.
Honestly, Demon's death and his character is one of my positive aspects of this movie. That's why I don't want him to be changed too much.
Yeah, because Demon was not just... He wasn't just in this movie. He was also in Return of the Living Dead. He was one of the characters in that.
And he was a Power Ranger.
Yeah, he was.
We established this last time.
Yeah, we did.
You weren't there, though.
I was not, no. He was also Jock number 2 in The Joy of Sex. Just kidding. I kid.
That's my favorite Jock.
That's my favorite Jock. Wow. He was also DJ in Street Fighter.
He was.
Yeah,
he also starred in Joanna Man, but I mentioned that last time.
Yes, he did. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just... Yeah,
I guess I just have a soft spot for Demon and don't want him to be changed too much.
I guess, yeah. It's just, I see, that's why I like this movie, because it had so much potential, and it was squandered and wasted. And then, they put Part 6, and I like Part 6, but once Part 6 came out, it was like, so we're just gonna
zombie Jason.
Yeah, we're just gonna do this. I mean, Jason Goes to Hell. It's a bad movie.
Oh God.
Okay.
I've actually seen some information that probably would have made the movie better, and that would be the implication that it's set in the Evil Dead universe, and that zombie Jason is a Deadite.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
well, there's Ash versus Jason versus Freddy.
Because New Line didn't just own. They didn't just have the rights to Nightmare on Elm Street. They also have the rights to Evil Dead 1.
Which is kind of ironic considering the little rivalry between Wes Craven and Sam Raimi.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It was all good fun.
I'll be honest. Sam Raimi. I like both guys. I think both guys were terrific, fantastic directors. Sam Raimi was a way more creative director than Wes Craven, I think.
That is a fair.
Craven as a script writer, better. As a director, I take Raimi because the way he wants his cinematography done and the way he shoots his shots, they're extremely creative. You can see it in the Spider-Man movies, in Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3 from the 2000s.
You notice Ash's car in all three of the Spider-Man movies.
Yes, you do. I mean, yes, that was. You mean Raimi's car?
Yep.
Yeah. He still got that car too. He keeps getting it repaired after it's wrecked all the time. It's just like that's my car. That's my Buick.
Just yellow.
Yeah. Yellow as the day is long.
Mm-hmm.
So what did you guys recommend?
I recommended Death Note, and he recommended a movie-making nerd.
Oh, so you both recommended shit. No, I'm just kidding. I can't.
So yeah, what's your recommendation?
Fuck, man. I was thinking about it. Tell you what, I recommend Dimension 20, A Crown of Candy. I've told you about Dimension 20, right? So for those of you who don't know what Dimension 20 is, and if anybody remembers College Humor, the YouTube channel, Dimension 20 is a College Humor show that they host on their streaming service Dropout.
Actually, I think you have told me about this.
Yes.
So.
It's hosted by Brennan Lee Mulligan. He's an American actor, author, writer.
I'm now trying to think if you've recommended this before.
I don't think I've recommended Dimension 20. I've talked about it, I'm sure, on here. I don't think I've ever recommended it.
I think you did at one point recommend a tabletop RPG playthrough series.
Maybe. But A Crown of Candy basically is, so it's a D&D game, right? It's a group of six folks playing a D&D game. They're all like College Humor folks. Because if you've seen Adam Ruins Everything, you'd recognize two of them.
Right.
There's Zach Uyama, Allie Beardsley, Siobhan Thompson, Lou Wilson, Murph, and Emily Axford. And they play these characters. It's a great group, very comedic. But A Crown of Candy, not so much. So Brennan Lee Mulligan, he's usually their dungeon master all the time, and he creates some great scenarios and plots and stuff, and he works great with the group. But A Crown of Candy is basically, if you take the food pyramid and then you add Game of Thrones to it.
Holy shit!
And it is one of the few times where Brennan Lee Mulligan is openly, I'm trying to kill these characters through tough combat, plot, intrigue. Like he doesn't admit it, but he's basically like, I'm trying to get every player's character killed in some fashion, just because I would find some sick, twisted enjoyment from it. And it's one of the most stressful D&D things I have ever seen, because Lou plays the King of Candia, Amethar Rocks of House Rocks, and yes,
House Rocks
of House Rocks, yes. And he's fifth in line to the throne, but all his sisters died before him. So he is the King of Candia. and Brennan spends the most time trying to fucking kill this fucking king. And Lou somehow keeps fucking surviving, so much so that Amathar gets the epithet Amathar the Unfallen. It's an epithet that he gains throughout the series because he refuses to die because Amathar is actually a barbarian, so he takes half damage when he's enraged, right? And so the first session, but the first combat they have is Saban's character, who is I think like a rogue. It's either a rogue or a ranger. The very first move, before even initiative, she takes an arrow to the throat and fucking drops.
Oh!
Full damage, critical hit, she's down.
Damn.
So that sort of gives you an idea of what the fuck this kind of campaign is. Brennan does not hold back, and the plot is basically the food pyramid. There's Candia, the dairy aisles. There's like the meat lands, bread, blah blah blah, and they've got their own domain, but they're also part of an empire, a sort of accord, which is a sort of confederation of sorts, a loose confederation alliance, where through political intrigue, they're all only allowed to worship one religion, and you're only allowed to have magic from that religion. And if you have magic from any other source, you're considered a heretic, a witch, and are burned at the stake. And that's what one of the characters has. Another one has a pact with the sugar fairy, the sugar plum fairy. And so they've got that. They've got to hide that. They've got to keep themselves from dying. They've got so much political intrigue up the wazoo, and then the emperor of this accord is dying, and so it's sort of an agreement where the emperor from all of the ruling classes of every kingdom and realm, he selects one to inherit.
And they're all competing with each other
and
to try.
They're all sort of competing with each other to sort of gain favor. But Amathar is heavily considered the favorite because he
can't be killed somehow.
Well, no, because he's the survivor of because this was years after a big giant fucking war between all the nations and lots of people fucking died, and Amathar was in the trenches and he fucking knew a lot of people. He was friends with a lot of people. From different realms, right? And so he knew the Emperor, and the Emperor was his friend. And so Amathar is the favorite to inherit. And, shit goes fucking sideways real fast. And it's like the most Game of Thronesian political intrigue you have ever seen. I highly recommend it. It's crazy. It's like, it's Game of Thrones, but the food pyramid.
But just that concept just makes me laugh.
And then they've got a couple of other great campaigns as well. They've got a Starstruck Odyssey. I don't know if you know what Starstruck is, the comic series.
Really?
Not really. It's sort of it's like an 80s comic book series, sort of a sci-fi series.
I've probably not heard of it.
But the reason that they chose that one, they're using Star Wars 5th edition for that one. The reason they chose that one is because Brennan's mom is the creator of that series.
Oh.
So he sort of got free use to use that world, establish it as his own, and it's that one is a lot more light-hearted. It's
the Game of Thrones food pyramid.
Yeah, then the Game of Thrones food pyramid. That one's the most stressful, to be honest. That one is just insane.
I'll probably just use the image for that one specifically.
Yeah, but yeah, a Starstruck Odyssey is a lot more lighthearted. It's a group of people banding around a ship, running through the cosmos. They start a fucking casino on their ship. They got like office spaces for fucking rent. It's like a heavily capitalistic, universe. So Starstruck basically is like a sci-fi universe where capitalism is a big fucking thing. It's the only thing. And it's capitalism gone berserk. And yeah, you get like sex droids that are, you know, fully built, commercialized. They can do whatever. You've got security droids. It's like Star Wars, but like if Star Wars didn't have a grand empire, even though it does in Starstruck, but like without the big struggle. So it'd be like, what would life be like?
I'm actually reminded of like a series of images. I'm pretty sure they were AI created, but they were basically a bunch of images. Like, what if David Cronenberg made a sci-fi epic called Galaxy of Flesh?
Oh God,
No.
It's like there's no like set plot line. It's just a series of images.
I don't need your images.
yeah. See, I don't know if you've ever seen that.
No,
No?
I don't think
No.
so.
Okay, that's what I figured though.
I don't need your images.
Um,
I can get blackjack and hookers. You know what? Forget the images.
Yeah, no, that just you mentioning Star Wars that just reminded me.
Right. And so the current season that they've got right now, it's called Never After. All right. This is their first 100% horror season. So imagine, if you will, all your fairy tales, all your little legends, all your grim tales, Mother Goose tales. Put them in a world where happily ever after no longer exists, and now darkness is overtaking their stories. So you've got, yeah, that looks about right. Yeah,
That's just one image.
yeah, that look, yeah.
Like there's a whole gallery with hundreds of images.
And so, a minor spoiler alert for Never After. Everybody fucking dies in like the second episode.
Oh, wow.
Third episode, yeah. Everybody, it's the very first TPK of Brennan's career as a dungeon master, because they're all level 1 characters. Because Lou is Pinocchio, Murph is a frog, the
prince.
You know, the frog prince. Emily is Little Red Riding Hood, she's either a druid or she's a barbarian. She's a barbarian druid mix. Zach is Puss in Boots, and then Shaban is Sleeping Beauty, except she gets fucking brambles that grow out of her mouth, and she uses it as like thorns. Like a thorn bush and everything. And
right.
She wakes up and it's like she's covered head to toe, and they're coming out of her mouth, her nose, and everything. It's just,
Can't talk.
Yeah, every orifice.
That's
and shit.
the word.
And yeah, Allie is Mother Goose.
Okay.
Mother Timothy Goose.
Perhaps you should save this for next time, because this is running a bit long, and I do want to have dinner. So
yeah, I was in the middle of eating when you texted me.
so
I highly recommend Dimension 20. They've got their first 2 seasons, freshman high, or like freshman, not freshman year. What is it called? Fuck. That's one where it's like a bunch of kids going to adventuring school. And
is that the one with the one character who keeps asking everybody if they're his
asking
dad?
everybody if they're his dad.
You're my dad.
Are you my dad?
No, you can't get away from me.
What are you talking about?
He's shown me like a compilation of moments where this character asks another character.
You've beefed it a couple of times. You're sure that she's not your dad. Can't be. Almost impossible.
But you gotta know.
But you gotta know.
Yep.
But then there's also the Unsleeping City, which is sort of take New York and then make it magical, and like all of your all of your Dungeons and Dragons creatures exist in it. So you've got pixies and elves and centaurs and, you know, the undead and all of that. But place it in New York.
So bright.
So a bit like Bright, except normal people can't see everything. They just perceive normal New York, right? It's only those that...
New York, New York.
It's only...
So the unavowed.
Yes, maybe, I guess.
I think that's what that was.
And that one's also a pretty good series. Definitely recommend checking either out. They're free on YouTube for the moment. So, yeah, Dimension 20. Dungeons and Dragons rules, bro.
Yeah, unavowed. Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess we should probably...
Let's probably end this.
It's great to have you back.
Yeah, I know.
Hope you're still around for the next one.
Probably not. Knowing my luck.
Oh. Well, we can always call it Proto-Tanked.
Yeah, ProtoBalls tank.
Now, Proto-Tanked, he said.
I know.
Because it doesn't have the balls.
I know, yeah. Very funny. Alrighty, guys. Well, that was my rewrite of Friday the 13th Part 5, A New Beginning. I'll see y'all later.
Bye.
Bye, you bitches.